Hello, Leo. Welcome to a 2025 February tarot card reading for the sign of Leo. My name is Steve. I have this channel, SolFire Tarot, SOL, like soul, signifier for the sun. And let's check out what's going on here. I'm going to do a little ringing. Wee 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 Leo report. Alrighty, so got a deck of tarot cards. Then I also like to incorporate the Teal Swan blind spot cards. These are sigil designs that she has made herself, various sorts. And what these deck can help do is to shed light on some of the things that might be hidden in our unconscious or things that we are unable to see, hence blind spots. So let's look what's going on for some of you Leos this February. We're a little bit into the month, but I'm just starting this out, so gotta start somewhere. Want to get the good practice in. Alrighty, holy guardian angels, emissaries of the light, high intelligence, vision, clarity, and spirit, may you help guide and assay this reading. Might you be active in my imagination, my intuition, and feelings for the greatest good of all. And so to begin, drawing a couple cards here with you in a position. Interesting, Leos. So a couple cards have come up here. We have the Three of Cups and the Nine of Wands. You can see here in this imagery, first one that came up, the Three of Cups here, it shows a woman taking two cups and pouring them into another cup, which is on the ground, on the earth. There's a lotus flower coming out of this cup on the ground, and it's in a field of wheat. And in the background, we have trees with apples, or crabbles, or oranges, or maybe potatoes in some other universe. Anyways, with this, she's pouring milk. This is the cultured thing. This is I'm kind of getting a feeling here that this is showing kind of a combination of forces, that things are coming together. Maybe there's certain kind of partnership or relationship, where you and another, or maybe a coworker, are kind of combining your forces to make something new grow, where there's these beautiful this beautiful lotus flower, with this beautiful scent, and it's kind of moving towards a harvest, working on something. But then, especially with the Nine of Wands here, with this imagery, which is different from like the Rider deck, for example. This very kind of like strong, hulkish looking dude who's holding up this tree and these branches. He's like holding on amidst this great transformation, this furious fire in the background. So I see that it's I think the general theme here is that you're kind of like holding on, embracing, and buckling through something that you're working on. It's taking like inner strength, inner resolve, and to hold things together, in something that you might be creating with somebody else. So that's pretty cool. Let's keep reading around this and keep on seeing what other themes might be coming through for you, Leo. Interesting. Nine of Swords. Yeah, so it looks like there might be some challenges going on right now. Drew the Nine of Swords here. This is kind of the aftermath, of losing something, losing some kind of battle, something to do with some kind of decisions and how they played out, some kind of destruction. Perhaps it's a little bit of a regression, or there might be some drawbacks on something that we're trying to uphold, or something that might be challenging us in a way in what we feel is our path. You also have the Knight of Cups in reverse. This, it's upright, you can see, is quite the kind of dreamy figure. He's on the white horse. There's this beautiful, very calm, dreamy person who is in touch with their feelings and following their dreams. It's kind of romantic and, serene and the what like, but it was in the reverse, and I kind of got that with with these cards here, so maybe you're in a process of trying to reconnect with your dreams and your kind of higher passions here, but you're coming up against an obstacle, some kind of threshold here where somebody, that you might be holding yourself back internally, mentally, are you kind of disobedient to your intuition or whatever kind of inner authority that you might have that's coming forward? Or maybe this is kind of expressing a process of reconnecting with your dreams, but there's some kind of threshold, there's some kind of guardian here, or there might be pushback, there might be pushback from people, in certain domains that could be conflicting with that right now. I was just thinking of a Leo in my life, and I was like, oh, knowing them, I see how this theme is kind of overlaying. Yeah, but this is a fertile time. You have new opportunities here, to reconnect with your dreams going forward, and the things that you nourish at this time, in partnership. I feel like you have some strong alliances, some strong people in your life, some reliable people that you can trust to co-create and help not only keep you, bracing and keeping it together, through this fiery transformation. But that ultimately this, combination of the pouring of the emotions, the love, the giving and the receiving into this beautiful kind of co-creation, is very fertile. There's a positive outcome in the sense that there's, new life, a new life is taking foot. Maybe that's a baby coming on the way or something, but I think in just, in more general, like the metaphorical sense. So yeah, it's important to nourish ourselves and whatever might be kind of coming in service of our dreams after this, wreck. And then also, whatever this threshold is, this dog, this guy's like, I'm the beast man. You can't get into the fiery infernal hells until you get through me. Or maybe he's protecting you. There's multiple ways to look at this. But, this dog on a leash, perhaps that could represent, like your fears, your insecurities, perhaps like your hesitations and your self-doubt. Maybe this guardian at the threshold guy is internal. It could be external too. Oftentimes it goes together. Sometimes as we're going through a process of personal growth, maturation, and facing our inner resistance, our inner challenge, it's oftentimes mirrored with the external world. And so as we go through the processes of overcoming and facing the obstacles in the external world, oftentimes, it's in correspondence or correlates with, we're experiencing it from the inside out, and the outside in. So yeah, that tracks. Let's see what else is going on here. Where are we coming from? I like to kind of look at the context of time in the past here. Yeah, so the first card that came up was Temperance in reverse, not listening to our higher guidance or intuition. This card is a card of alchemy, and like kind of preparing for the perturbations of things that are coming. It's kind of signing to us, like, to take on that archetype of the angelic temperance. Like, what does it mean to temper something? It's one thing to say, oh, I have a temper, like versus like I'm tempering something hard. Like tempering metal. I think that's tamping, but it sounds similar phonetically. But anyways, yeah, basically what I'm seeing from this card is like kind of like out of touch with that intuition, whatever the higher guidance might have been, and there could have been some kind of reckoning. If we see with like that volcano, the groundswell, all that kind of stuff, the changes. A little bit more. Yeah, same thing here too. Like we might have had inspirations on certain ideas, that we're being guided towards, that really amp up our excitement and that we get assistance with in the invisible realms of our various allies. that seems to be upside down, So yeah, I'm kind of seeing that maybe we're just a little out of touch with kind of what kind of doorways and where our spiritual guidance might have been nudging us in the past here. Yeah, yeah. And not necessarily doing the work, to have the foundation, to be able, you see this woman with this is the Four of Wands, and there's this steamy little cauldron, what is she cooking? Or is this a sacrificial altar where it's like, I put these agents, and I got a little here, a little there, and I'll make something yummy. And it's a four, so there's like it's like squaring. It's the basis of something, like you have like square support, right? So, there just might have been kind of like a lack of preparation along things that, we might have had some opportunities to. And so now we're kind of in this period where it's like, oh shit, like having to brace with these kind of radical changes. But, we have this positive flow with like the kind of support and the nourishing theme here. To kind of get back in touch with our dreams after this, whatever this aftermath is and whatever it is we have to face, internally here, the guardian kind of thing, or the block, the obstacles. But you have what you need, Leo. You really do. Yeah. And, it's something you can pour your feelings into. It's something that you'll be able to share with others, to help pour into other people's cup. Think about that idea of like service, like when you're kind of like what I'm finding with this, like I like doing this, I'm enjoying this, and it's a pleasure. It feels good. I feel like there's good energy that comes from being of service, where this isn't about me. It is in part, right? But it's a thing of service. It's coming from a place of selflessness, but it also is kind of like integrated with like the self, right? Because this is something true and authentic. I'm following my joy, my passion, my interest with this. That's very positive to give versus, like imagine if this was like some nasty Kool-Aid or, like battery acid, like, I'm going to give you battery acid, you drink that. Like, no, like, the sweet things of life, the sweet things that we can really refine and enjoy and share with each other, So generally what I'm trying to communicate here is, perhaps it's a time to kind of like, to share in that nourishment and to look towards your dreams of, what you feel is worthwhile and what you want to kind of give back to the world at this point. I'll keep reading here. Yes. And this is something to do with like, where you're going in terms of like stability, like where is it taking you in terms of like the materiality. And you see this is at night. I love how all these knights, or the princes rather, are at night, like the Knight of Chalices versus the Prince of Chalices. Oh, they title these different. But anyways, yeah, these two, the people on their chariots, like both at night. So, something to do with like your dreams, like how are you stably going to get there, and do you know where you're going? He has this globe, and he's like looking out to the sky and he's like, oh yeah, I kind of know where I'm going. I know where I'm at, I'm going to get there. I'm not going to be the fastest one to get there necessarily, but with this ox, this bull, it's like, it's stable, it's strong, it's consistent, it's got a lot of power. So what might you have to do to kind of get yourself on this chariot, and get moving slowly but surely, and at night, sometimes it's hard to see. If we don't have the light, if we don't have the illumination, whatever it is to kind of see where we're going, how do we figure that out? Maybe it's some inner stars, maybe there's going to be external guidance, and once we start looking for that and we take our steps on our journey, it's gonna get there. Cool. That's positive. That's beautiful. Let's see, kind of close out that side of where things might be going. Interesting. Yeah, so this is reminding me, we got another kind of like directive. This is the Prince of Cups now in reverse. So upright, we see this, handsome ass bearded man who looks like I don't know, something out of a video game, with the hawk and the higher guidance, that's like higher consciousness, seeing things from a higher perspective, like the bird's eye view kind of thing. This was in reverse. So I think what this is suggesting is, in this process, whatever this might be for you, on these themes, don't lose sight. Like, keep things in perspective, to understand where you're going and why you're doing things as you might be doing them, and that can guide you through this darkness, right? I was talking about how, like, well, sometimes at night you don't know where you're going. You got to wait until you can see more clearly again. Take one step, rest, blah, 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 blah. It's the idea of a journey, right? Yeah, and this is, the cups. So the water, aqua, por favor. Alrighty, we'll do one general overlay theme, see how this is transconnecting to the next month. This one. Yeah, so there might be some setbacks in this process, like you might be kind of like bummed out, like, oh, why did these apples have to die? But I mean, look, you still got these other apples. This is the 7 of Pentacles, so this is after the 6 and the 7. And it's like things are taking shape, once like you get a structure going, and you do this work to have something that's working, like there might be setbacks, and that's okay. It's sometimes things get lost along the way, or things don't work out quite as we want or expect them to. But again, be strong like ox. It's stable. So yeah, it's a process here. So ultimately, you're going somewhere new. This could represent something like walking away from something, that once was, and, having the wisdom, the experience to know when to do that, right? This old man walking away from this pool of dreams with these wilty flowers with this divine hand that like, that smell good. And you're like, you know what? I've smelled enough of that. I think I want to go to the casino or something, whatever that casino might be. But be careful. I'm not saying you should gamble. You probably shouldn't. I mean, if you got the money, hey, don't listen to me. Do what you want. Okay, thanks. Like and subscribe. Let's see. Alrighty, so now I'm going to draw from the blind spot cards. Isn't that, just look at how thick these are. They're thick breath. So yeah, thank you, Teal Swan. If you've never checked out Teal Swan, go to her YouTube channel. She's an incredible, highly sensitive, intuitive, very reflective, kind of teacher guide archetype. She dives into things in a very nuanced way about human psychology, spirituality, extra-dimensional kind of stuff as well. Good stuff, in my opinion. So anyways, blind spot cards here. We're going to draw a sigil for Leo on the theme of February 2025. This one. The 39. Interesting. So yeah, there's definitely, you can see from the sigil imagery, there's some kind of like transformation here as things are like getting lifted up, and things are kind of like reordering, but that's good that things are kind of like reordering and kind of aligning, so the 3 and the 9, interesting. I like the vibration of that number. Let's take a look. I'll go into the book and do a bit of reading here. Might not read the whole thing, just kind of get to the essence of it. So card 39, duplicity. What does that mean? If you have drawn the sigil, sorry about that, the reaction you are having to something is an indication that you are deceiving yourself. As a result, what you show the world is not a true reflection and may even be the opposite of what is authentic about you. As people, when we have decided it's not okay to own and accept and admit to something about ourselves, we tend to transform the unacceptable into its opposite. For example, a man who is leading a march against homosexuals is gay himself, or when a woman who hates another woman throws a party for her, or when a man struggles so much with his sexual desire and impulses that he becomes a priest and spends his life preaching against fornication. When we are two-faced or hypocritical, especially when we don't realize it, or if we are extremely polarized in any way, we may be falling prey to duplicity. In research done in 1985, female participants in a study who reported high levels of sexual guilt as well as disapproval of erotic imagery reported lower arousal response and even repulsion to erotic images when they viewed them. However, the devices being used to measure their physical arousal at the time it reported the exact opposite of what they said. Wow, so there's like, yeah, duplicitous dichotomy and a kind of dissociation, it's like rejecting a part of yourself, not being authentic. Interesting. So the solution is to bring those things together and to be authentic and to integrate whatever it might be so we can be more wholesome, and not be as polarized and, like how big are those waves? It's like, chill. Yeah. So I don't know. Let's see. Harsh judgments of other people and things, as well as our desire to set ourselves at the opposite end of the scale and prove we are nothing like that or have nothing to do with it, often points to an insecurity within ourselves. For example, if you are insecure about being a selfish person, you are likely to rant and rave about selfish people and do everything to be the leading example of a selfless person. The things that you oppose need not necessarily be inherently negative, simply things that, whether objectively good or bad, you have experienced them as personally unacceptable and shameful. If you have drawn the sigil, you are avoiding an insecurity that does not exist within you and are both denying and disguising it by taking the polar opposite position. So something to think about and reflect on there. So, right on. Mojo Jojo. Cool. I'm going to give you a little ding out, my Leo friends. Please like and subscribe and follow for more. I'm looking to probably do a mid-monthly or weekly coming up in the next week or two. So thank you. You got it.